Good morning, everyone. It is Friday, September 9th, 11 a.m. Eastern. The season's turning. It's almost winter robe season. Still a little hot, but we're powering through it. Lots to check in on. Bulls shaping up in a lot of places. Weekly higher lows that we were scouting for a couple weeks now at this point are shaping up in a lot of places. We're going to look at the broader market, a lot of the little clues, some examples of some early pattern recognition, and then answering the big question, what are we looking at from here? Is this a bottom? Are the bulls back in full control? What needs to be done to prove to us that the bulls are regaining their control? And again, it's looking at a lot of different places. And in the broader market videos, if you have not been following them, I highly suggest doing so. The last 2 days have been great, not only for keeping an eye on knowing what we're looking for in the market, but also just in terms of education, in terms of watching multiple days and the continuity of the setups as they have played out. The last couple of days have been really good with watching all these different pieces of the puzzle, watching what the dollar is doing, watching what the VIX is doing. And again, there's certainly a lot to be watching, but the point of those videos is to try and help organize and condense it down. And the last couple of ones have been good for doing that. So, before we get into it, I'm going to be talking a lot about correlations, as I always do. And again, we got this free ebook, in-depth, about correlations, how to use them, and a lot of good information. So posting that in the chat room right now. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Scotland, appreciate the likes and the shares and all that stuff. New time today. We'll see if it's a popular time or not, but market correlations, definitely worth paying attention to. I know myself and a lot of traders, specifically with the altcoins and watching the correlations between Bitcoin and the altcoins, getting a grasp on that has significantly helped with determining which names to be looking at to trade. Before we get into the whole breakdown, I am in a trade right now. We'll just check in on that. Just a little 5-minute lower high play on XBI. And I shorted just because today's the kind of day where the bulls are in full control all morning, but I only have long exposure right now. So I try and position myself in low risk or risk-free bear positions where if the broader market sees healthy hourly consolidation rather than my account dropping during that hourly consolidation, I like it to stay nice and level. So I looked at XBI here and I recognized relative weakness, correlation. I was watching QQQ and said, okay, QQQ, 5-minute higher low and higher high. XBI, much bigger 5-minute pullback, much more space for a 5-minute lower high. So I then watched this resistance of 88.46. We rejected from 88.44, 88.44. That's enough for me to make an entry. So made an entry in a short, exited 1/3 on this candle pulling back, and now I've got to stop just above this high, risk-free. If the market rolls over into hourly consolidation, if bulls run out of momentum, I will be gaining on this short as my longs that I'm not going to be selling today lose a bit of value. Expecting an equilibrium here, so we'll see how that plays out. Just a little quick example of a trade that I'm going to be keeping an eye on, and we'll see whether I stop out or not. So looking at the NASDAQ, we're going to start with all our bigger picture puzzle pieces first. The NASDAQ had Powell's bearish reaction on, we certainly know a week ago we had a big bearish reaction, but we also had another bearish reaction, what was it, yesterday pre-market? I can't even keep track, but that just gave us a 4-hour higher low, and the futures chart confirmed the 4-hour uptrend. So now we have weekly higher lows, certainly look like they're shaping up, less convincingly than in a lot of crypto names, which we're going to look at. But the big thing from here, and this goes for Bitcoin, crypto, stocks, the dollar, everything, daily trends now. Okay, we know we're scouting for weekly higher lows. We know that's been the most likely scenario. At least some of us have felt that's been the most likely scenario. So now, to have confidence that they are forming, and for the ones that have already formed, to have confidence that they can have follow through, we must confirm a daily trend change. So whenever this bounce tops out, we've got a lot of space now for the bulls to work with. But when we top out here on this bounce, can we form the higher low and higher high? That is the question for next week. First thing we're watching for today into Monday, are we topping out? Do we maintain the hourly uptrend or do we top out? So for now, we're still up at the highs and we still have an hourly uptrend. So there's no sign of the top being set. When the hourly uptrend is lost, or the 4 hour, if you're using the futures chart, I'd be watching the 4 hour uptrend. If you're using the ETFs, I'd be using the hourly uptrend. And again, it's just a difference of the number of trading hours in a day. You can watch the hourly on both. Hourly EMA 12. Let's keep it simple. If the NASDAQ futures chart or the S&P 500 futures chart loses hourly EMA 12, that's the first indication that the top of the bounce is being set and daily consolidation is shaping up. So we're watching for that in the short term. Once that happens, we're then watching how much do we pull back before bulls shape up a daily high or low. If they do shape up a daily high or low, we're then watching, can we confirm the trend change? If the trend change is confirmed, the bulls have a lot more confidence in the weekly high or low, and we're then looking back up at that recent high. Can we confirm the first weekly uptrend since all-time highs? Or do we fail weekly resistance and then lose weekly support? The good news about the bull move that we've seen in the last 24 hours is we now have a benchmark level. If the lows of this week, whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's stocks, if the lows of this week do not hold, big red flag for bulls. This is a must-hold level. We must see the trends continue to develop for the bulls from this level. So if I'm looking for any swings, or if I'm in swing positions, if I'm looking to be a bear, if there's any further signs of weakness, it's all about this level for me. And I would want to be out of my longs as a bull if this low were to break. And again, it's the same for the NASDAQ and Bitcoin, but we'll look at both here. So that's the first thing that we're looking for in the short term. And again, everything that I said pretty much applies to both Bitcoin and stocks right now because they have very similar setups. Elsewhere, we're looking at the dollar. The dollar confirmed our head and shoulders that we were watching in the broader market video from the last couple of days, which is, in my opinion, a big reason crypto spiked last night was that dollar rolling over into weakness, hitting first 4 hour oversold conditions. We got right down towards that 30 level. So now what we have to see is the exact opposite. We have to see, and here's the bulls trying to defend that EMA 12, but we have to see a daily downtrend confirmed into weekly consolidation. And then we'll be watching EMA 12, which is held forever. But can the broader market and Bitcoin confirm daily uptrends? Can the dollar bears confirm daily downtrends? That's what we are watching for over the next couple of days, probably next 3 days. All depends on when we top out. As far as relative strength and weakness, Bitcoin has been weaker than the stock market for a while. That's shifting. Bitcoin divided by NAS 100 USD is showing us relative strength. We had a tightening range that has broken bull on the daily. We're in a daily uptrend now as far as relative strength. That's a good sign for bulls, obviously. Now the question is, can we break the weekly lower highs? If not, nothing really changes, and Bitcoin's going to stay weaker than the broader market, bigger picture. If we do break the lower highs on the weekly, again, that's just another little piece of the puzzle. And when you're thinking about all these little pieces of the puzzle, you can determine weight as to what's most important. For me, price trends are always most important. The dollar, its importance for me has increased massively over the last couple of months. As more and more people are watching it, that to me, a lot of people say technical analysis is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and to a large degree, I agree. I agree. And so that means the more people that are watching something, the more we're going to see traders and price action react to it when certain things happen. So everybody has been focused on the dollar the last few months. And so I feel that if we're going to see a big confidence boost for the bulls, we have to see continued dollar weakness. So keeping an eye on the relative strength, and I'm now on the weekly time frame. Can Bitcoin continue to gain against the NASDAQ? Another little piece of the puzzle, crypto miners. MARA had a huge day yesterday and set its weekly higher low yesterday, and Bitcoin followed hours later. So that was a little bit of a factor. MARA was showing us a nice base of support established, tight sideways range, and a clear breakout. And just like that, we are over 30% off the lows, and the weekly higher low is set. Stair step up every week, stair step down on consolidation, higher low is set. Keeping an eye here for clues as well. It's not a major factor for me, but keeping an eye on it. Checking back on XBI. Bears getting a little bit of follow through. Testing support. We'll see how that shapes up. All right. So those are all the little pieces of the puzzle around the market, in addition to, of course, individual charts in crypto that we're going to be keeping an eye on. So Bitcoin, we've got a big bull break on the daily. We're getting over daily EMA 12 for the first time in over a month. That is notable. And certainly a lot of alerts going off for the Trader Pro alert system that the link was just posted, but volume alerts. And we've been seeing alerts spike, time and time again when there's volatility in the crypto space on that Trader Pro alert system, but it's always been for the bears. This is the first spike for the bulls relative to volume, relative to price shear going up, and starting to get 4-hour overbought conditions for the first time in a while. But long story short, it's the most notable bull move that we've seen in crypto, I would say, certainly since we topped out a month ago, 3 weeks ago. And really, as far as convincing bull day, it's the biggest one in 6 weeks or so. So we're definitely paying attention. It's definitely getting our attention. Weekly time frame. So you could say the weekly high or low is set here with our low, high. We held the low of 17.5, and we have now broken the high of last week. But if we're going to have confidence and follow through, we must see the daily trend change occur. So for crypto, because we trade 24 hours, I care most about the 4-hour uptrend. We have a ton of space for a 4-hour high or low to form next consolidation. We're watching retracement size. Next 4-hour pullback. Is it a bull flag with 382 retracement or less? Is it a bigger pullback than bulls want to see? Heading towards EMA 12 and giving back 50% plus of that move. That's going to help us determine what the most likely scenario from here is. But when we lose the 4-hour uptrend, we know we're anticipating a higher low next time we pull back. But when we lose it, that's when we say, okay, our top of our bounce is set. Can the bulls confirm a daily trend change? A patient swing trading bull is waiting for daily consolidation at this point to be looking for an entry on a daily high or low, because again, now we have a benchmark level. And it's not a huge difference between 17.5 and 18.5 on the benchmark level for Bitcoin. When I say benchmark, I just mean a really important level now that it's established itself. But there's a lot of altcoins that didn't really have any clear support nearby. And so now we have that with this move. So like, for example, Ape, which we'll talk about more in depth here in just a moment. Ape, support was 306 on the weekly time frame. Now that we've bounced convincingly off 416, that's now our benchmark most important support level, and that's now a level that is much closer nearby that we can look to play off of as far as swing trades are concerned. So same thing, if I'm looking at Ape here and saying, I want an entry, if I'm being very patient, I'm waiting for a daily high or low. And of course, if we fall back and break 416, it's a big red flag for bulls. That's a must-hold level. We must change the daily trend from here. If I want to be more aggressive, I'm scouting 4-hour high or lows. If I want to be most aggressive, I'm scouting first 5-minute oversold conditions and looking for back burner bounces on the names that had the biggest moves today. So Atom, as we've been talking about being a lead bull for quite some time, it's on back burner watch. And actually last night, let's try that again. Let's look at first 5-minute oversold conditions. The last time we saw it here, 1262, and that was the entry before another 40% move up. So we're seeing the strongest coins getting back burner scenarios where bulls are buying those dips. So Bitcoin short term is currently riding 15-minute higher lows and will keep full control as long as that is the case. Is this a potential rising wedge? Sure, you can keep an eye out for it. We know we're very extended on a lot of time frames. I'd be watching something like that. If we lose the 15-minute uptrend and roll over, 4-hour consolidation will very likely be shaping up. I'm probably just sticking to the 4-hour from here. You can use the hourly as well, but I'm sticking to the 4-hour. And if the 15-minute higher lows are lost, pretty much if 20.9 breaks, then we'll be shaping up 4-hour consolidation. Best case for the bulls, 15-minute oversold conditions the next time we see them on any individual names, mark our 4-hour high or low. Remember, that's how we use RSI. We use RSI when we're in convincing downtrends. Overbought RSI on shorter term time frames indicate potential lower highs on longer term time frames. So 15-minute overbought, potentially a 4-hour lower high. And when after a bull move, we look for the opposite. Do we see 5-minute oversold, mark hourly higher lows? Do we see 15-minute oversold, mark 4-hour higher lows? Do we see hourly oversold, mark daily higher lows? That shows us significant dip buying if that is taking place. All right, so now a little bit of hindsight, just looking at some early pattern recognition. So Ape, we had a 12-hour falling wedge that we were watching. And this was just recognizing, we know we're looking for a weekly higher low on Ape. The probability for me that Ape was going to drop down and break 306 straight from 780 was very low. And as I've mentioned many times, I was a lot more confident that altcoins that had bigger moves were going to set weekly higher lows, more confident than I was that Bitcoin was going to set a weekly higher low. And so we had this Ape pattern here and just very early pattern recognition from Tuesday, which was 3 days ago. Ape, very early pattern recognition, but it's a 12-hour downtrending. If this 12-hour downtrending support line holds, I'll be watching this falling wedge to try and shape up. And so from there, we then had the BTC pairing doing the exact same thing, Ape BTC. So we could say if Ape USD and Ape BTC both break this falling wedge, we're going to look for a significant move to the upside. And obviously, both ended up playing out very well. But I always like when the setup is the same for both pairings, knowing that it's 2 check marks. Check mark for both pairings, good to go, confidence in that move having follow through. So now that we've got this bull break, again, it's the daily trend change. Does 15-minute oversold conditions mark a 4-hour higher low? We can see the 4-hour consolidation has just started. I guess we're going to have to talk about aggressive bears here in just a second as well. The other factor is Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance has been changing how it has been trading a bit in the last few days. And again, in the past 2 years, if Bitcoin dominance is going down, generally altcoins were stronger than Bitcoin. And when we would see crypto drop, the dominance chart would bounce because alts were dropping faster. In the last live stream, we talked about this is different. Bitcoin's flush under 19.5 led to a big drop in crypto, but Bitcoin led the way down. And in the last live stream, I forget exactly what I said. I don't want to misquote myself, but it was something along the lines of, this is unusual, this is different. If I have to attribute anything to it, to me it's bullish because it shows me alts holding on better than Bitcoin during this fear. So that was a little tiny piece of the puzzle in hindsight. Again, obviously it's much easier in hindsight, but if you combine that with knowing that we're looking for a weekly higher low and seeing altcoins holding up better than Bitcoin in weakness, that's a little clue. I then yesterday looked at this daily chart on the dominance and said, we know a daily bounce is coming here within the next few days, most likely. Even if it's just a weak little bear flag to cool off RSI a bit, it's been an absolute dump and we're due for a short-term bounce. And so yesterday, we could start, the only way that that dominance chart bounces, 2 things, there's only 2 ways it bounces. The first way is crypto drops and altcoins drop faster and dominance goes up. We just saw that happen and it didn't happen. The second way that it happens, Sweetie Pants is in the building. The second way that it happens is if Bitcoin goes up faster than altcoins. So those are the only 2 possible scenarios. And if that's a 50-50 chance of how that's going to happen, we can shift those odds because we can say, well, we did just see weakness. We did just see a leg down in crypto. It did not lead to a bounce in the dominance chart. So maybe there's a little bit of a lean that the dominance chart will break bull on a Bitcoin bull spike. And so yesterday just laid out, there's plenty of stronger alts, but If we are to have continued confidence for alt bulls, we want to see Bitcoin get over daily EMA 12 resistance to shape up the weekly higher low. We know that, that's obvious. The dominance chart is certainly due for a daily bounce. Bulls are hoping it is a Bitcoin specific spike up, and then the confidence flows back to altcoins and the dominance chart tops out. We know that's our most healthy bullish environment. In the last 2 years, that's how it's been playing out. Bitcoin will spike up, it'll top out, it'll trade sideways a bit. As it's trading sideways, altcoins play catch up. The dominance chart spikes up with Bitcoin initially and then starts to consolidate as alts catch up. What I'm saying right now, in the last 20 minutes or however long it's been, is advanced technical analysis. So if it is over your head, that is normal. And just stick with it. If it is not over your head, congratulations, you've been doing this for a few years. So if it's over your head, again, continue to explore the YouTube channel, the free intro course to technical analysis, all the different playlists, trade reviews, and all that stuff for it to try and make a little bit more sense. This is complex. 4 years ago, I was not charting like this. I was not looking at this many things, and I was not going this in depth. It was a lot easier market back then. 2017, 2018, I'm watching Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, and I'm going from one to the other. And it's just rotation between those three coins, good enough. That's what it was. And it has developed in complexity as it has gained correlation to the broader stock market. It's gained more liquidity with significantly more dollar volume and a lot more traders around the world. And of course, with the slew of coins that we're seeing with different names getting their turns in the spotlight. And now we've got Atom in the spotlight. I still have no idea what Atom does. I have no idea, but I've been able to recognize it as a lead bull in the crypto space for however many weeks at this point. Most recently yesterday, what was yesterday? If you're not following us on Twitter, @ChartGuys, I post a bunch of stuff. So yesterday it was Atom 2-day equilibrium continues to tighten, currently at the top of recent resistance, and it's remaining a lead bull. Atom put on a show last night. It had a 5-minute candle that had a range of like 13%. 15% range on a 5-minute candle. Atom is the lead cryptocurrency bull over the last long period of time. So for me, that's at the top of my back burner list. First 5-minute oversold conditions, first 15-minute oversold. We can anticipate better bounces as it is a stronger name. Atom BTC, of course, breaking out as well. So for me, it's Atom, Ape, and I'm watching the Bitcoin back burners. Maybe I'm not necessarily trading Bitcoin specific back burners, but I'm watching to see, is the dip buying significant? Are bulls keeping their control? So Atom, all right, we're gonna talk about bears in just a second here. We got Ape, we got Atom. Let's check Ethereum, certainly popular with the merge coming up. So as I've been saying, my due diligence on the fundamentals of this merge are the ETH BTC chart. And for me, if we lose this 12-hour support, that's a bit of a red flag. It'll be the first red flag that we've seen for ETH in the last month or so, comparative to Bitcoin. If we hold this support, we're watching for a potential 12-hour head and shoulders. If we lose this level, that's going to be the first signal for me. Okay, maybe the merge is sell the news event. Need to be cautious as an Ethereum bull. There's stronger names out there. So watching closely, and if you are looking bearish, we can see Ethereum on this move is not as strong as Bitcoin. We hit the high at 8:30 a.m. and have been trading sideways since, while Bitcoin has hit, no, it hasn't yet, but it's closer to its resistance. It's testing it right now, while Ethereum is not testing it right now. So there's the start of some potential weakness here. We have to be watching, is this weakness persistent or not? And again, ETH BTC on the 12-hour is going to be giving us a lot of information. If ETH BTC confirms an hourly trend change here, that tells me as a bear, be patient, scout the 12-hour lower high, and then look for that head and shoulders. So keeping an eye on that. as far as Ethereum is concerned. I'll get to the chat room here in just a moment. First, let's talk bears. So there's short-term bear opportunity approaching. Bitcoin keeps grinding up. We know that altcoin bears are not going to see notable follow-through as long as Bitcoin stays strong. And again, just keep it simple. The 15-minute is the time frame here in the short term if you're looking at day trades. And we're just setting higher lows every single pullback here. When that changes, when that stops happening, when we lose the 15-minute uptrend, we can say the character of this morning bull move is changing. And we'll then be looking at bears getting a bit of follow through. Again, we'll be looking for 4-hour consolidation at that point. So this is the kind of spot where I look for relative weakness. Exactly as I just did with QQQ and XBI. Why did I short XBI? And I'm probably going to stop out because bulls are still strong here. Maybe not. Maybe another 5-minute lower high. Hourly consolidation, hourly EMA 12 holding, bear break with no follow through. I'd be watching this for a falling wedge. I'll get back to my point in just a second. You can see my brain's a bit all over the place. And I'll like it on the 2-minute. But this is the kind of scenario where I know I'm scouting an hourly high or low on XBI, and if 5-minute bear breaks continue to lack follow through, we look for a falling wedge to then set the hourly high or low. Anyways, why I looked to short XBI and not QQQ is because QQQ did this, and XBI did something very different. So I had a level to play off of on XBI. As soon as QQQ hits that new high of the day, I don't have a level nearby to be going off of. We just broke resistance. I played XBI because I had resistance nearby to be going off of. And I anticipated that a lower high was the most likely scenario because of the size of the pullback. So we can do that with crypto and alts and Bitcoin. And I actually got this from crypto and started applying it to stocks with my stock trading. But if Bitcoin is continuing to hit higher highs, I want to find the coins that are not. So if Ethereum fails resistance here, it's a top fishing play. And again, it's only the most aggressive bears right now. And personally, I would only really be looking bearish to try and nail the top if I were looking to hedge open bull positions. Otherwise, I'd be a little bit more patient. I don't need to nail the top as a bear to have a worthwhile short-term trade if 4-hour consolidation is underway. But if I have long exposure that I'm not going to exit, then I'm a little bit more aggressive with my hedging to enter a bearish position. So I'm watching here, does Ethereum fail to break 1747 and lose 1717, which would give us the first little sign of weakness. And again, we're seeing comparatively weaker than Bitcoin. So I want to find the names that are comparatively weaker. And we have to be cautious of laggards, which is why, of course, we're always using a stop. But we can see XTZ already has hourly consolidation underway. OMG, much weaker over the last few hours. So there are definitely altcoins that are much weaker here. Mana is always good. Until Mana BTC changes something, Mana and Sand are lead bears. And so look at Mana BTC, fresh lows, or testing the lows right now. So we are on the verge, we're pretty much tied with the weakest that Mana has been relative to Bitcoin in the last almost 3 months. So Mana just did the same thing where the size of this 15-minute pullback was big enough to scout a 15-minute lower high compared to the high of the day. The probability that we V-shape to the higher high there is less likely than the probability that we set the lower high. Now it's just a question of, do we equilibrium or do we confirm the 15-minute downtrend? So there are weaker alts out there that are positioned well for bears to pull back further if Bitcoin, I should say when Bitcoin loses the 15-minute uptrend and starts some more significant consolidation. And with all that, if you really want to be focused on things, you can be watching the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ as well because they're approaching the high of the day test as well. They're doing the same thing as Bitcoin, testing the high of the bounce at this point. If I'm a crypto bull, I want to see this dominance chart top out. I want to see it be a short-term spike. I want it to do this. Because again, for me, that would tell me that most likely that means that we're topping out and altcoins are getting their profit rotation. Say, oh, I got more confidence. Bitcoin bulls, big move up. And that just means bulls potentially will have more confidence to start throwing profits around. We got Luna breaking out. Shout out to Rob in the chat room on top of both Luna and LUNC. And LUNC had a bull move first over the last couple of weeks. And Luna was a laggard. Why did Luna spike and when did it spike? It spiked later. This bull move kicked off. You can see the volume spike. This bull move kicked off at, let's call it 7 a.m. And that is way after Bitcoin bull move happened 7 hours prior. So that is a perfect example of bull confidence, Bitcoin leading the way up, find the altcoins that haven't pumped yet. Don't tell me GMT already did. So I'm watching GMT. I'm watching altcoins that have not broken daily resistance yet. There's been a couple cup and handle patterns out there. So if GMT were to reject, I know cup and handles are most ideal in uptrends, absolutely. But I'll show you some examples where they played out. Sushi. Who is this? Look at this. I'm starting to get annoyed with this ghost. Why is it a ghost? And why is he upset with me? I made a mistake typing the coin. He's like frustrated. It's like a boss looking down on me. I don't like it. It's my formal complaint to TradingView. Maybe like forgiving, like try again. So Sushi had a cup and handle here, left, right side, double top by 1/10 of a penny, and then a bull flag holding EMA 12 and a breakout. So I saw that happen, and then I looked at ADA, and ADA had one. Someone posted there's a double top on ADA, and I looked at it and said, well, if this retracement is a bull flag and holds EMA 12, it's a potential cup and handle. Take a look at what Sushi just did. And again, I'm being a little lenient on the definition of a cup and handle here. But for me, it's just an inability to break resistance into a bull flag into continuation, which is what ADA ended up doing. And the more I see something happen on one coin, the more I look for it on other coins. So same thing, Bitcoin breaks out, look for the weaker names to see if they're going to get a turn. All right, I think I'm done talking. He is disappointed. Why is it a ghost? What does a ghost have to do with charting? Where's his face? Does he have a sheet on his head? What's up with his janky legs? Are those histogram? Are those candlesticks? Maybe like a disappointed bull or a disappointed bear would make a lot more sense. It's going to haunt me. 97 likes. Let's get that over 100, please. And now I will check out a couple altcoins that you want to look at. And again, I always like questions more than what's this chart. I like questions about trading, questions about what I'd be looking for as a patient bear, etc. More open-ended, abstract kind of questions. Those are always good. I don't know. You can't really say he's cute because he's hiding his face. What's he hiding? I don't trust him. ADA BTC, notable bear break. So ADA had a brief time in the sun on this 2-day move here. We then double topped and rolled over. We double topped and attempted a bull flag and confirmed a daily downtrend. So again, there's altcoins whose charts, whose BTC pairings are breaking out versus breaking down. So those are the names ideally, and Ape is actually giving a lot back here as well. But ADA, on its own, it's bullish in the sense that, okay, we've got a daily higher low set. It's more developed in its trend change attempt. So we're much closer to having a clear daily uptrend than in Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has to start daily consolidation, and we've already done that here. So we're going to have a lot more confidence in the ADA weekly higher low if we break resistance of 5122. This is a benchmark daily level for me. The benchmark weekly level is certainly 423, which was very close to the recent low. But if we lose 453 from here, it's a huge red flag. The bulls must confirm continuation here to give us confidence in this weekly chart. We've got a battle looming with weekly EMA 12 again. Tons of alt and Bitcoin itself rejected from weekly EMA 12 a month ago when we last tested it. If we're going to set weekly lower highs and lower lows, we would likely reject from weekly EMA 12 again. So that's the next battle here. And you can see it's right there for ADA. For Bitcoin, it's not close, but it's approaching. We rejected last time. And if we cannot get over it, it's just another weekly lower high, and the weekly lower highs continue. So that's another thing to be keeping an eye on. But it's the daily. We got to confirm that daily trend change. And if we do, ADA will be looking to get over weekly EMA 12 if that daily uptrend confirms. If I'm looking for a bear position, what indices would I look for? I would look for a loss of the hourly uptrend. Again, so just as an example, let's use QQQ. I'm not going to try and nail the top on QQQ. And if you watch the broader market videos, today is day number 3 where all of our major sectors have hit the high of the day at the same time. And it's also a day where QQQ is leading. And I've talked about that in depth the last couple of days and the implications of that. But long story short, those are things that bulls want to see. So I'm not trying to nail the top if I'm looking bearish. Again, the only time I'm trying to nail the top is top fishing when I'm protecting an open long position. If I'm flat right now, I am just patiently waiting and saying, I know that the next time we consolidate, we're likely to see an hourly high or low. If it's a big enough pullback and I say, oh, I wish I had a position, I scout the next hourly lower high from there, knowing we have to confirm an hourly downtrend for bears to see notable follow through. I'm essentially just watching for a bearish pattern to present itself. I'm watching for an hourly head and shoulders. And so right now we don't have those. As far as which name do I want to be looking at, I can do a quick rundown of relative strength and weakness and do IWM divided by SPY and see that we're stronger today. QQQ divided by SPY, certainly stronger today. So SPY is a little bit weaker than those two. So if I had to choose for today, I'd be looking at SPY over those other two. But again, the bulls have complete control right now still. And so I'm not in any rush to nail the top. I would want to see signs of weakness and give me a level to play off of. How to shift a profitable trade into a long-term swing position? Sell partial. That's my favorite every time. And it's just what I did on my day trade. So on that XBI day trade, I entered a short. I didn't nail the top. I entered a short slightly under that 5-minute resistance. But as soon as I sell a third into that initial pullback, I'm now risk-free. So if you sell a third, or whatever percent, 20%, depends on how large your position is. But if you sell partial, and ideally, I would like to be able to put my stop under the benchmark support. So if I want to be really comfy, where I'm not going to stop out unless there's major red flags, my stop's under 18.5. And so let's just say I made an entry at 19.5, and I sell half at 21, math, I'm risk-free. So I will oftentimes determine how much I sell based on how much do I need to sell to get risk-free. Maybe I only have to sell 20%. Bird hit the window, but it's all right. So I love being risk-free. Long story short, Bitcoin's still going, 15-minute higher highs. New high of the day on the NASDAQ. S&P 500's at the high of the day. Biotech sector is likely to stop me out now that we're confirming a 5-minute uptrend. Not yet, but. So again, we've just seen complete bull control yesterday. Well, I won't say complete. That was a big drop, but a nice recovery by the bulls. Complete bull control Wednesday. Complete morning control. Bears punched the bulls in the mouth, but bulls recovered. And then complete control again today. We're due for hourly consolidation. So if I'm looking bearish in crypto, I want to see signs that QQQ and SPY are shaping up hourly consolidation. I want to see this bull break lack follow through right into 5-minute consolidation to start shaping up a rising wedge. Hey, Miles. Miles and I are good buddies. It's always nice to hang out with people and then interact with them in the universe or the internet world. And then interact with them in real life. Miles is from back in the days when I was on the farm with the goats, pre-TCG. I won't say ADA is rolling over. I'll say ADA BTC is rolling over. Is there such thing as a patient bull right now? If you miss this move, absolutely. We need a daily trend change. It has to happen eventually. We have to top out, pull back for a daily high or low, and then see continuation. A patient bull is waiting for hourly oversold conditions, ideally to mark a daily high or low. It doesn't have to happen that way. If we see a daily bull flag, we might not get to hourly oversold conditions. But again, it's the kind of thing where it's the same for SPY. We need the daily trend change. This move is coming off the low. Whenever we top out, whenever that is, that's when I look for the entry. Because the risk and reward of an entry there is way more favorable than trying to find an entry up at these levels. And if we just keep running for 3 more days, then you just have to say, I missed this move. There will be another move at some point. But as far as being in this game long term, you don't buy now on these kinds of moves, especially when you're in downtrend still on a lot of time frames. And so it's hard to conquer that FOMO, but once you've traded for a number of years and you see 10,000 trades present themselves and you see 8 different sectors have massive 100% breakouts, it makes you a lot more patient. This game's not going anywhere. Also, you can look at longer term charts. Look at the monthly chart for Bitcoin if you want some anti-FOMO. Did you miss the move? The moves that we want to be a part of are here, and here, and here, and there. And this is nothing. On a bull bear flag, does it matter how many candles it takes to play out? No. Because you can always change that. What you cannot change by changing time frames is the retracement size. What you can change is how many candles there are. So let's say on APE, I'm watching, is this a bull flag on the hourly? I say, well, that's a bunch of candles. I don't like that. Go to the 2 hour. There's now half as many candles. I often condense it down. There's sometimes people will point out patterns to me on a time frame and say, you know, is this a cup and handle on the 5 minute? And I will go to the 15-minute because I prefer things a little bit more condensed. But that is something that we as individuals have control over. We don't have control over price levels. They're concrete. Retracement sizes are concrete. We can change the candles and we can change the number of candles. Perfectly fine to be bearish because of macro conditions, but I personally am more interested in the opportunities in between. We will also get to a point, in my opinion, where a lot will be priced in regarding rates. And not saying we're there yet, but again, when everybody is looking at something, it starts to get priced in. If you stop out of a hedge position, but your long position is pulling back, do you try to re-enter another hedge position? If my loss is tiny, if it's a top fishing play and my stop out is a 25% day loser, I'll absolutely try again. If it's a day loser, I won't. And again, that's why it's important to determine those levels just so you know when to hit the brakes and say, stop, I'm done for the day. I tried and I failed to get that position, and I'm not just going to keep trying and banging my head against the wall and end up with a weak loser because I don't know when to stop. And that's where, of course, discipline comes into play, which is one of the most important, essential personality traits as a trader. CRV. 1, 2, 3, 8 broke, so nice daily bull break. Weekly high or low is set. Anything under 159 is a weekly lower high. Swing trading bears are going to be scouting weekly lower highs to be a result of this move. Same thing for the S&P 500 that pulled back 60% on this retracement. Bears are watching for a weekly lower high and hoping that we roll over. So just keep that in mind as well. There will be swing trade bear opportunities. It may take a while, just like we were scouting weekly tops in crypto, and I was probably 2 weeks too early before we finally rolled over once I started to focus on looking for those bearish positions. But that's also because we know that when a move on the weekly time frame is going to play out in crypto, there's significant meat on that bone, meaning we're looking for 30% plus moves at a minimum. So we'll watch the 4-hour uptrend on CRV. We've already topped out into hourly consolidation. If we lose hourly EMA 12, 4-hour consolidation will be underway. And again, we're watching for retracement size on 4-hour pullback, because if I'm looking to be a bear scouting daily consolidation, I want a big enough pullback on the 4-hour to then scout a 4-hour lower high, stick my stop over the high on that attempt. If we start to roll over, I move my stop down to that peak. And then if we confirm bearish, daily consolidation is underway. Sure sounds simple, doesn't it? It's not. Where should a new trader focus their energy in learning? So I just call it rabbit holes. What I did was I'd follow someone who knew what they were doing a lot more than me. And if they would talk about RSI, I don't know what that is. I Google RSI, I read articles, I watch videos, and I go down a 2-day rabbit hole of just studying the RSI. And then I see another term that I don't know. And I go down that rabbit hole. Our YouTube page is a good place to start. We certainly don't cover everything. Other channels certainly have better content on specific aspects. But in terms of a general, broad, encompassing starting point, it's a good starting point. I mean, you could watch easily 30 hours of very relevant, useful content on our YouTube channel, starting with our intro to crypto free course, which is however many hours. And then from there, you take that course, you take notes. Well, we didn't really go over this concept as much as I'd like. I'm still a little bit foggy on that. So I write down, and then I go down that rabbit hole for the next 2 days that I'm going to dedicate and make sure I have a solid grasp on that. Self-directed learning. Am I going to do a cannabis psychedelic video this weekend? I think so. I was planning on it. Examples of trading this BTC breakout. So really it would, honestly, the only way that I would have had confidence looking at Bitcoin was the confidence in the broader market. I was a lot more confident that the broader market would form a 4-hour high or low next consolidation than I was in crypto. And if the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ confirm that 4-hour uptrend after Powell speaks on Thursday, which they did, the probability for me that our weekly high or low is shaping up takes a big jump. And so in my opinion, what happened here is confidence was gained in the broader stock market a bit, and then it transferred over into crypto. Again, same thing. It's the same thing. So Bitcoin spikes up, risk on mindset, profits start rolling around into the higher risk, higher reward coins. Confidence in the broader stock market, same thing, but looking at crypto. Like, okay, well, stocks are showing some signs of a bottom, so I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive and enter a crypto position because I know if crypto bounces, it'll go up twice as much of a percent as the S&P 500, roughly speaking. So confidence and fear are contagious. And the most notable thing about the trading environment in 2022 is, number one, it's not fun. The fun trading environments are when it's easier to make money. So certainly newer traders are having a lot more fun. When we've got hype and euphoria and blue sky breakouts and big moves, not this bear market with a lot of moves in both directions, but a lot of back and forth. But what we're seeing most notably to me is the shift from fear to FOMO is a lot more drastic. Just, FOMO, of course, all-time highs in the broader market, and then, of course, fear, and then FOMO on this 2-month bounce, and then fear on this 3-week pullback, and now a little FOMO on this 3-day bounce. The question is, how long can the bulls keep this FOMO up? Can they put pressure on everybody that has shorted in the last 3 weeks by confirming a daily trend change? And pretty much, bulls, the goal for the bulls is put everybody that went short since Powell spoke a week ago underwater. So the sentiment is shifting very significantly. The only way that you're in on that Bitcoin move is if you're an aggressive bull. A patient bull, not interested. Prove the daily bull break? All right. Then a patient bull scouts the daily high or low. And obviously that's now happened. This is the bull break. This is some conviction. But the only people in after a fresh low looking for a 4-hour high or low are aggressive bulls. So if you didn't set out in advance, I'm going to be aggressive entering a bullish position, then you should not be upset about yourself at all for missing this move. If you did have that mindset and you missed it, then there's something to work on. But for me personally, I knew that I'm not being aggressive in crypto while we're in long-term downtrends. I know I'm going to miss significant opportunity. It's just not going to be high probability significant opportunity. I like the high probability significant opportunity when we're in uptrends on weekly and daily charts. And bull entries are way more forgiving. And you get a lot more follow through. That's when I start to throw more capital around and start to trade more actively. So there is nothing wrong with being patient and waiting for those conditions to present themselves. It's going to be a lot of sitting on your hands, but if you as a trader are only waiting, if you love trading bullish and you don't really like trading bearish, if you just wait for the euphoria bull markets when we're in daily and weekly uptrends, ideally monthly as well, but even just daily and weekly, you're going to have opportunity to smash, even if there's 2 years of nothing. And then the year 3, another hype sector, whatever it is, whether it's crypto, whether it's something else, you can make it very worthwhile if you are extremely selective and waiting for those very clear market environments. And this is not a very clear market environment by any stretch of the imagination, all of 2022. don't know if I'm going to be able to cover everything here. We'll try and go a little bit faster when I get on my tangents. No more looking at charts, just going to look at other questions. If you exit the trade at first 4 hour overbought, was that bad? Profit's never bad. But you could leave a runner. Again, partial positions. I cannot express how significantly partial positions changed my game. Once I accepted, I'm not going to nail tops and bottoms. I can sell a quarter of a position, and then another quarter, and then another quarter. And then by the time I sell, my average sell is way better than where it would have been my initial sell. I can sell half at first 4 hour overbought conditions and then say, I'll hold the rest of this trade as long as we're in an hourly uptrend. I'll hold the rest of it. That's generally how I do it. I'll look for a target. I'll sell partial at a target. And then I'll let the trend dictate the rest. I'll choose the time frame. I will hold as long as we're in a 4 hour uptrend. Just keep it very simple and analytical. And then when the 4 hour uptrend is lost, I just keep walking up my stop. Okay, new 4 hour high or low is set. I know I have to wait for it to be set on Bitcoin, but let's say it's set. I move my stop up for the remaining half position. XBI trying to give me a bear window. That's a falling wedge. So a falling wedge trying to shape up an hourly high or low. Or a channel. Probably just watch that channel. Still relative weakness. Fresh lows while QQQ is not even close. I would love to see QQQ roll over to help my XBI bear position, but it's still a clear 5-minute uptrend at this point, or 15-minute, whatever you find more clear. Fucking ghost. Bleep that. That might be the first F-bomb that I've ever dropped in a live stream. For the ghost. What exactly is follow through? So it's easier to describe what a lack of follow through is. A lack of follow through for me is if I'm watching on a time frame. Let's say I'm watching a key hourly resistance and we break it. If we start pulling back after that first candle, that's a lack of follow through. So for me, if I'm looking at QQQ here, here's the high of the day. So this is a little bit less cut and dry, but we break the high, no follow through. Next candle, maybe. Next candle, the pullback starts. This is no follow through. We go from a resistance break straight into consolidation. You want to see a resistance break and then multiple more candles before the next period of consolidation starts. Because in an ideal world, follow through would have been a bull break with multiple candles. Let's try that again. A bull break with multiple candles of follow through. Then you consolidate and back test and hold previous resistance, now support, and then you see continuation. What do I mean by price in? Google TheChartGuys priced in. There's a video specific. I mean, think of how long I've been doing this. I've been making content for over 7 years. If there's a concept, I've made a video about it. TheChartGuys priced in. Explore our YouTube channel. What does priced in mean? 22 minutes answering that question way more in depth than I will do here. How do I determine what amount a day winner or loser is? It's specific to all individuals. So for me, it's the amount of money where if I just keep making this money on a daily basis, I never have to worry about money again. Because that's my goal. Financial independence, financial freedom. My number is going to be different if I've got a mortgage and 3 kids. It's going to be different if I'm in my first year of trading. It's going to be different if my capital size is 10%. My day maker right now is 10 times what it was 5 years ago before crypto leveled me up in position sizing in 2017. So it's a very personal question based on a ton of factors based on the individual. And again, so for me, my day loser, back when it was 10% of what it is now, day winner, that position size was maybe 0.5% of my portfolio. Now it's 10 times larger, and it's about 0.15% of my portfolio size. So I'm scaling back my aggressiveness. I was more aggressive when my portfolio was way smaller. I am now less aggressive, and so my day winner size has increased significantly, but it's a much smaller fraction of my overall capital. Is it likely for the price to drop over the weekend due to low volume? Not necessarily. I look a lot at how sentiment closes on Friday. So if stocks close at the high of the day, or if stocks close near the low of the day, that significantly impacts sentiment. Because obviously then stocks don't trade for a couple days and it's only crypto. QQQ is now finally rolling over, potentially starting hourly consolidation. Let's see how Bitcoin is responding. Where'd my charts go? Still a 15-minute uptrend. If we're holding 15-minute EMA 12 on QQQ, we're not starting hourly consolidation. Same for Bitcoin. Still a 15-minute uptrend. Bulls still trying to buy QQQ dip right off EMA 12 on the 15-minute. All right, we're wrapping up. Would I play this 5-minute oversold on Ape if I'm looking to be aggressive? Yes. Little bit less confident because Bitcoin has not even started consolidation yet. It's not ideal. In an ideal world, if I'm playing a 5-minute backburner, I want Bitcoin 5-minute oversold as well. Because I know that if Bitcoin bounces, then my altcoin is likely going to bounce more significantly. The risk is, what if Bitcoin just now starts hourly consolidation and Ape is already in 5-minute oversold? That's when the altcoins' individual RSI levels can get a bit more extreme. So if I want to be real aggressive, then I'm going for it. If I want to be a little bit less aggressive, I'm waiting for 15-minute oversold. I want to see 15-minute and 5-minute oversold together. If I want to be even more patient, I'm waiting for hourly. Time frame determines your aggressiveness. Smaller time frames, more aggressive. Waiting for longer time frames, less aggressive. If I'm up big over the last week and I'm on a nice streak, I'm more likely to play this 5-minute oversold than if I'm struggling and have a little bit of red this week. I'm going to be more picky if I'm not in flow state and in the zone. Is sim paper trading inferior to trading with small amounts of real money? Yes. Doesn't mean it's useless, but it is inferior because you don't have the emotional attachment. You can't manufacture how your emotions are going to react to actual money being in play. Hope I did not get stopped out. Nope, still in XBI short. So I'm just going to let the 5-minute downtrend be my guide. I know that an hourly high or low is the most likely scenario on XBI, bigger picture, but we're not setting that hourly high or low as long as we're in a 5-minute downtrend. If you can't handle pullbacks, I'm dealing with this myself. So really good looking bird. That's a new one, some kind of Oreo looking thing. Very bright orange. Orange is my favorite color. So, you gotta look that one up. So, if you can't handle pullback. So right now, as a day trader, my ideal scenario is, my goal is have more money than yesterday. That's it. Just just have a higher net worth than yesterday, and I'm doing well. And so I really just like drawdowns in my account. And so as I'm trying to transition to swing trading more, to be off the screen a bit more, and to live life a bit more, I am realizing that you have to accept that your account is going to have red pullback drawdown days. And that is fully expected and accepted as a part of swing trading. So if you can't handle pullbacks, would you rather be a swing trader rather than a trend follower? Any psychology tip? Honest tip, for me, it's a day trader. I would rather be a day trader to just lock it in on the day, and I'll see you tomorrow. When in a stock with extreme volatility, how far away do you put your stop? It depends, because extreme volatility is subjective. Some names will move 5% in a day, some names will move 10% in a day, and that's twice as significant a difference. So I let my position size, the more volatile it is, the smaller a position size I will use to allow more wiggle room on stops. But there's got to be enough liquidity where there's not those scam wicks. Nothing will frustrate me more than being correct, but just a little low liquidity spike up, stop me out, and then the move plays out. If that's happening, I personally would just rather play something that's more liquid, that has smaller moves, but use a little bit more capital. I lost my spot. And it also depends on the character of the chart. Like, I know NIO, which is a stock, often breaks support and resistance right before reversals. I want to look back at the history of the volatile instrument. And I want to see how significantly do we break support and resistance before reversing when we do get scam wicks up or down. I don't often talk about bulls being underwater. Shorts also, you mean longs also use stop losses. Yep, that's correct. What percent of my trading is strict rules versus intuitive? I don't know. There is definitely a lot of intuition. I mean, intuition and gut feeling is just experience. That's all that is. And so if I have a gut feeling, it's my subconscious looking back on 10 years of trading and saying, you know, I've seen this play out this way this many times. And so while I can't consciously put that into clear memories, it's a subconscious gut feeling. But you certainly need years in the market to be able to trust a gut feeling, in my opinion. How do I decide what is partial? It depends on what the most likely scenario is. If I'm looking for a weekly high or low and I want to hold this trade for multiple weeks, it depends on how much risk. So where's my stop? How far away is the stop? Am I risk-free? Did I get a great entry and I'm up enough now where I can sell a third and be risk-free? Do I still have to sell half and be risk-free? So there's a lot of nuances to that. If I have more confidence, I'm scaling out slower. If I don't have a lot of confidence, I'll exit half real quick. If I have a lot of confidence, my first scale out will be 25% to give it more time to play out. XBI is keeping that wedge alive. Bear breaks just lacking follow through. So this is the lack of follow through. Back to that question. So look at this break, straight into a bounce. And then we have this break one candle straight into a multiple candle bounce. Then we have this break, one candle straight into a multiple candle bounce. That's a lack of follow through. Favorite indicator is RSI. I mean, price levels always first, price levels and trends, and then RSI and volume. What would I suggest doing to help with selling into profit too soon? Partial positions. If you want to sell everything, sell a little bit. Tell me that's a mailbox. Nah, not with the legs. Fed is in 2 weeks, I believe. I believe it's the 21st. I don't even care. Like, with events like this, I'll look the days before. I don't even care if it's weeks away. It means nothing to me. So I'll worry about that. At the end of next week, I'll look when the Fed speaks next. CMPS is doing its own thing to a certain degree. I'll talk about that in the video later. Doesn't BTC go against technical analysis during this time? I don't think so. I mean, weekly high or low in crypto is not surprising. It's been the most likely scenario ever since we saw the magnitude of the bounce up. Again, I was less confident in Bitcoin's weekly high or low than I was in many altcoins, but with stocks and crypto, we've been looking for weekly high or lows for a couple weeks. Can I give a quick back burner strategy? Google TheChartGuys back burner, and there is a very in-depth video about it. And here is also a link to an ebook about the back burner trading strategy, just posted in the chat. Yeah, playing poker with live money. Very easy to go all in firsthand. All right, I'm wrapping it up. It's been over an hour. I appreciate you all tuning in. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I do see your comment, Dylan. Appreciate you all tuning in. One more quick summary. Bitcoin. 15-minute short-term support guide. When we lose it, we'll be looking at the possibility of 4-hour consolidation being underway. We will then look for a 4-hour higher low. We will be observing, do bulls buy short-term oversold conditions? Do they mark the higher lows? Does first 5-minute oversold conditions mark an hourly higher low on Bitcoin? Does 15-minute oversold mark a 4-hour higher low? Do the bulls keep the 4-hour uptrend going through the weekend? When we lose the 4-hour uptrend, we zoom out, we scout a daily higher low. In my opinion, the daily higher low is the most likely scenario after the size of this move up. And we'll talk, by the time all that plays out, we'll have spoken again early next week. Do good things. Have a great weekend.